In remembrance of Steve Jobs, a role model, inspiration, and hero to many of us. Steve Jobs followed his curiosity and intuition always. He pursued his interest in calligraphy and typography when he hadn't a clue where it would lead him. Steve Jobs took this knowledge and designed it into his first Macintosh computer years later. At 20, Steve Jobs gave birth to Apple. Apple was what Steve Jobs loved. He discovered it earlier in his life, and he was lucky. Even though at 30, Steve Jobs was fired by his own company, he still carried on forward, innovating new possibilities into the product he so deeply cared about. He created Next and Pixar during the most creative period of his life. He found exactly what he loved. As Steve Jobs said, "Keep looking and don't settle until you have found what you love." Pixar created Toy Story, the first computer animated feature film. Who knew that something so creative and artistic could be an inventor's project? Steve Jobs said, "Sometimes life is going to hit you in the head with a brick. Don't lose faith." His company, Next, was ingrained in the center of Apple's renaissance. Steve Jobs and Apple grew together to create the best software technology in the world today. It's incredible to believe that Macintosh went from this to this. It started with the Power Mac that rocketed into the iMac. The first laptop design was the iBook with the clamshell style. I remember I was in middle school when it came out, and to this day it is still the coolest piece of technology I've seen. After that came the iBook G4, then the MacBook Pro, followed by upgrades year by year, and also the MacBook Air. Now the wireless, thin, small iPad, iPhone, iPod, and iTouch. Steve Jobs once said, "You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. You have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. Because believing that the dots will connect down the road will give you the confidence to follow your heart, even when it leads you off the well-worn path. And that will make all the difference." In remembrance of Steve Jobs, I'm Rebecca Austin, and this is Pop 17.